button real quick.
Awesome.
Let's see if it started. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, man, that's no problem at all. I meant to send you just a reminder, just to say, hey, look, we're still good, because I know obviously time gets away from all of us. So no worries at all.
Bro, man, well, thanks for being locked in, because it got me right back on track. I was just waiting around, and we can rock and roll, brother. But thank you for your patience. So I'm not sure what was up with that, man. They didn't want to let me log in. The devil was at work this morning early.
I don't know what it is that go to meeting. Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely. So how you been? Did you have a good weekend?
Bro, it was, I guess it was the weekend. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I was gone from last year to the beginning of this year. So now we in grind mode, man. The wife is good. So I just been locked in playing. Let's get it done. So the weekend came and went, and I was just focused on controlling the controllables, getting what I need to get done, brother. Whether it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I ain't even really keep up lately. So yeah.
I hear you, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time out to do this, man.
Man, thanks for having me. You have a good weekend yourself?
Yeah, I did. It was relaxful. Relaxful is all good out. The older I get, the more I appreciate these weekends of doing nothing.
That's it, brother. That's it. Hey, man. Hey, that's what it's all about, when you can appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
Man, I've never been more jealous of a man's hair, man. What type of berries and juices you got up in there? Beard are glistening and
bro, I ain't got nothing but some coconut oil, and then the only plant I put in is moringa. That plant did good to me. So hey, that's all I got right now. Other than that, brother, that's all I got.
I am not mad at it. I'm like, shoot.
Hey man, you make it look good over there, brother. Hey, I got a square here, so this gotta work.
You gotta work.
This gotta work.
You gotta commit to it. I hear you.
That's it.
I hear you. All right, well, let me hit my little intro right quick, man, and we can dive into it.
Awesome.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor with Edmonds Duncan out of Lawrence, Kansas. Played football for the University of Kansas many years ago. Played outside linebacker, was the starter for 3 years. Loved my time there as a team captain, and just met a lot of people, great people. And while at school, became very passionate about working with students, student athletes with financial literacy, and which kind of took me down this path of working with former student athletes in order for current student athletes to learn from the successes and failures. And so I've been doing a series of interviews with these cats, and came across this guy on LinkedIn. And man, I was just very impressed, because a lot of things that you hit on are obviously key and very important, and things that I've found, that I struggle with as well. And one of the promo videos you did, and I'm kind of, getting ahead of myself, but one of the promo videos you did, you mentioned something about just a correlation that athletes have with the skill set that they develop to be an athlete, and taking that skill set and applying it to work, to real life. And I've always done that just naturally, and I've always mentioned that type of stuff to my wife, and she kind of falls in a deaf ear when I mention stuff like that. But talking to other student athletes, I think the same thing holds true when you start talking about just that correlation, just that understanding, just that those habits. So kind of to go back to I guess my intro, I always read, and I'll do this real quick, the definition of financial literacy, which is the possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions in with their financial resources. And the reason I mention that is twofold, is because a lot of these student athletes, I believe, have this connotation that financial literacy means that they're not the brightest or the smartest in the world, where I think the opposite is true. If we can help these current student athletes develop the habits that we're talking about, that they already currently have, that's innate in them already, then I think that's going to be beneficial. And I think it's just, again, separating that, just using those habits they already have in place and just applying them to something, again, understanding savings and budgeting, understanding investments and so forth. So I just wanted to, I guess, commend you on that. But got my intro out of the way, and typically I like to cyberstalk folks, and just with you, man, it's just amazing as far as, again, taking what you've learned and then applying it to what life after college. So you're originally from Atlanta, came to University of Tennessee, played cornerback, played in the SEC, which is no joke. So again, man, I just appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy dude, and I just really appreciate you taking time out of your day to get after it.
Man, well, Pat, first and foremost, man, thank you for having me on, man, and I appreciate you for what you're doing. And my brother went with the Kansas State, so you know that whole area when you said that, I'm like, okay. But man, thank you for reaching out and for taking this initiative with this financial literacy space, because it's definitely needed. It's not talked about. I guess definitely anyone talked about in my household when I was young, whether that's in majority of the Black community or not. But I definitely appreciate you for what you're doing in this space, man, because it's definitely needed, relevant, and hopefully we can say a thing or two that fall upon some ears that'll make a difference in somebody's life at some point in time, man, whether they know it or not.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of hit on that first question right off the bat. Your freshman year, sophomore year in college, did anyone ever talk to you about whether it's, like I said, credit, budgeting, or investments or anything of that nature? Or was it, kind of hit or miss?
Man, I honestly can't remember anybody talking to us about finances, period. And if they did, apparently they didn't say none that stuck out to me, or they didn't communicate it in a way that I understood them enough to, they weren't on my level, or might have talked over my head if they did. So I didn't even understand how relevant it was. So as far as I'm concerned, it was never a thing that brought up. I just remember us getting scholarship checks or getting those Pell grants and teammates gambling them away or spending it all on clothes and shoes, and not end up making it through the whole summer without having to go get out the SEC emergency fund. So I remember some guys just didn't get it, and I was always frugal with my money. So I would be the guy that would go buy a shipment of white T-shirts and sell it to my teammates, $5 a T-shirt. So I always found out how to make it stretch. Absolutely right, man. I had them coming to the dorm room, and I would sell it to my T-shirts to my teammates, 3 for $20 out my dorm. So I just made it stretch, man. So I didn't know financial literacy, but I did know how to be broke, and I had been there before. So I know when at some point in time, I didn't want to be broke no more. So that's kind of how that hustle kind of kicked in college, but it was never really talked about in a way that taught me and educated me.
Wow. So then just experiences throughout college, yes, you kind of hit sophomore to junior year and so forth, where a lot of the decisions kind of trial and error. I mean, because like with us, we go to a little club or whatever that's around this area, and then, like you said, having more money. So you start to learn, okay, well, I can't buy groceries now.
There you go. Man, hey, I was wise enough, playing in the secondary and playing safety, I was always aware. So when I started being aware, taking that awareness and just start applying it to my life, I seen a lot of guys that was older than me do stupid stuff with their money. So I realized if I wasn't aware, I was gonna do the same stupid stuff with my money, just like they was doing. So I just kind of learned from their mistakes, really, and just started to realize, okay, I probably don't need to go buy those shoes, go do this or go do that. I need to figure out a way to earn more or keep more, considering we were so busy that we couldn't necessarily get jobs to that degree. So I just figured out how to make it stretch, live below my means, spend a little bit less, and just had to be wise about it, man. So it wasn't. I like to learn from other people's mistakes, Pat, because I realized we did it on the football field in practice. When the ones are out there, when you're younger, you learn from their mistakes, because you go out there and you make the exact same mistake, you're gonna get dogged out. So I just started to pay attention to take that same process, which I talked about, the transferable skill. That was just transferable observation. Well, if he's doing this and that ain't working, I probably shouldn't do that. So that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't want it to necessarily be trial and error. And then my sophomore year, I got exposed to an online network marketing company by a teammate that went to the Bears, and he ended up coming back, got cut. And when I got exposed to online business and some other people that was in business, my circle kind of changed. So the influence around me changed, and I seen business people making income, and it wasn't football related or sports related. And that's when I realized, oh, you can make money in real life on a big scale without necessarily being on the field, on the turf, on the court, in the pool. So that's kind of what that thing started to happen. That was around my sophomore that summer going to my junior year. And that's when the light bulb and the shift of financial literacy and stuff started to kind of really hone in.
So another key word you pointed out there is exposure, which I think that's such a big thing. So with me, we had a class towards my senior year. It's called experimental. It was experimental class it's called Transition from College to the Workplace. It was just for athletes. They don't have it anymore, but
wow.
I'm saying that because they exposed me to a lot of things which I was very embarrassed about. My background, I came from straight suburbs, both parents in the home, and we just didn't talk about that. We just didn't talk about it. We weren't exposed to it. I wasn't exposed to it, and so I'm making that comment about my background because it's not as if it matters to where you come from. If you're not exposed to it, you don't know what you don't know. And that's when I kind of like what you said, the light kind of turned on. I became embarrassed and I started trying to read as much as I possibly could about whether it's investments, whether it's savings budget, whatever it was. I was the guy in the back of the bus trying to read this book, on a road trip, just trying to get a better idea of it, a better understanding. So I'm saying all that again to say exposure is just, is huge. So if,
right.
we can
exposure. Hey, bro, you just summed it up, man. Sorry for cutting you off, but you got me excited when you said that word. That's a word that's relevant. And if you don't get exposed to it, you don't even know it exists, or you don't even think it's possible because for some form of fashion, you don't think nobody doing it or nobody that looks like you is doing it. So you figure that's for somebody else. You hit it right on the head, Pack. Exposure is key, brother.
Yeah, man. So again, if we can get these guys, and again, I don't care I know a lot of these videos I've been doing has a lot of guys, football wise, but I'm definitely trying to open up for, the ladies as well as any sport, whether it's baseball, football, track, etc. And so, the more stories I can get, recorded, the more I hope people can come and at least get some nuggets off of these stories. So, looking back in school, what were some of your worst financial decisions that you made, and what were some of the best?
Well, man, I got one that was like the best and the worst at the same time.
Yeah.
It was the best then, it's the worst now. But one of them is, you get your scholarship, because mine, I came out of high school, hurt my knee, so I lost all my scholarship opportunities and had to literally take a shot at Tennessee that was not even on my radar, and end up earning my scholarship once I got there. Wow. So it was delayed. So my process was completely different than what it was initially supposed to be, because I got injured my senior year in high school. Yeah. But once I got there and I got my scholarship, I'm like, okay, I think everything good now, and everything was getting took care of. So I went and got a student loan to go get me a car because I ain't have no way to get around. Now, right. Of course, that was probably definitely illegal or whatever. Not illegal, but just frowned upon, whatever you want to call it. Right. But it was private, and we got the loan. Well, I would have got me a whip. Well, it was great. It was got deferred, but now I got a student loan debt over a car that I don't even got no more. So it was great because it helped me get around, and I moved how I needed to move, and the car was perfect. It was my money car loan. That bad boy was nice. And then somebody ended up hitting me in this thing years later, man. So I got a car payment on a car I ain't even got no more, even though it come in the form of a student loan. So it was bad, but it was good because, man, other than that, I would have never had a ride in college. So it worked out as long as it needed to work out, but now I'm paying for it. Now you paying for it.
Hit my whip,
man.
Okay, cool. So looking back on college again, what do you wish you have done different in regards to dealing with your money?
Man, that's one thing right there that I guess earlier I didn't have any money, so I probably would have, like, it took me to my, I guess, red shirt junior year, sophomore year, that summertime to start learning it. Mm-hmm. So I wish I would have just could have got exposed earlier to start that process faster. Because once I finally started to get involved and read books and get exposed to different people and realize that you can make this lifestyle and this type of living without being on the court and on the field and on the track and in the pool, and pretty much without being an athlete, the light bulb, without being a rapper, without selling drugs, like the light bulb kind of went off. I was like, man. But I guess the exposure and then just learning the different avenues, learning real estate, learning investments, learning how credit works, because I ain't learned how credit works until 2 years after college, 3 years after college, learning I understood the budget part because I was already, balling on the budget anyway. I was already broke. So I'm not to make a dime stretch. I know how to make it work. So that part was easy, but it was learning the other stuff that I feel that most people, well, not even most, but people that's from a different environment or got a better upbringing as far as financial literacy is concerned, had an advantage or a head start on. So I wish I would have kind of locked into that more. So when we was getting the scholarship money, even though I made it stretch, or when we were playing card games and betting a little bit when I was winning. Now I played with the house money when I was winning, but I wish I could have had some other source or resource that'll let it stretch and let it pay me and create passive residual income earlier versus not really knowing what that was until the back end. So if you ask my teammates, they said, well, you did good because I was the guy that actually was learning this stuff. But compared to what I know now, I ain't really do enough.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. And so this question, which I already know the answer somewhat, but how have the habits that you formed in college affected life after college, or has it?
Man, bro, those are the habits. I realized the game gave you so much discipline, so much of the mindset that it takes to be financially independent, financially free, financially literate, that if you just don't get lazy, you already got the muscle. You just got to take that muscle, realize, okay, how does this thing correlate that I learned from basketball, track, tennis, softball, golf? How does that correlate to financial literacy or to everyday life? And once I figure out how it correlates, I just figure out, okay, how can I carry it over? So the habits are the exact same, being able to be disciplined, delayed gratification, just understanding that, hey, you come in as a freshman, you want to start, but you may not necessarily know all the things you need to know or not be as skilled as you thought you were going to be until you got there and get beat. So when it comes down to financial literacy, hey, you might want to be rich on the front end, but I tell my wife this all the time: you can't handle small paper, you can't handle tall paper. So you gotta know how to budget the small stuff and make the right decisions on the small things. So when you do get to a bigger tax bracket or more financial opportunities, you can match those same decisions and not make bigger mistakes, because the scale only increases when the money increases. So just doing the small things right, just like the game taught me. Now when it comes down to the financial decisions, being able to do those same small things right, because I realized, all right, there might be a couple hundred, that might be $100, but that $100 could be $100,000, and if I'm still making that same decision because it was only $100, it's gonna cost me. So just being cognizant of that and just realizing, man, if you can't do it with the small stuff, he ain't gonna grant you the opportunity to do it with the big stuff. And he that's trusted with a little is trusted with. So that correlation, just realizing you don't take this opportunity and these decisions for granted, and being able to make the right decisions with the small paper and the small opportunities. Because if you have, for one, you ain't gonna even get to the big opportunities if you do get it. And then if you do get it, you're gonna blow it if you haven't done those small things and got the right habits in place. So just realize it ain't no switch, man. You can't turn it on and off. It's habits. Habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broke. So you just got to
speak my language, man.
Come on, man. The game taught us a lot. We just got to realize what it was teaching us. It was a life class, and a lot of time we take it for granted because it was something that we did and it was normal to us. But when we get outside of that area and get into a different environment with different people that was never on the court, on the track, on the field, in the pool with us, you get a chance to realize that, man, you got some unfair advantages that the game taught you and then gave you. But it was so normal because that was your peers that you was around, and that was your everyday life. But that's the thing that's going to separate the pits from the poodles.
Yep. Speak that truth, bro. Speak that truth. So, again, we're kind of getting towards the end here, but what are some of the pitfalls that you hope your story would could prevent to the young student athletes out there? So basically, if you could look back and essentially give advice to the younger student athletes, whether, like say, women's sports, male sports, baseball, basketball, whatever, what would you say that you want them to know?
Learn the sales game. I believe that was one of the best things that ever happened to me, learning sales and understanding commission. Because I came out, hurt my shoulder during the pro day. So this NFL dream comes to an abrupt stop. It was already questionable on the front end because those numbers are already not in your favor playing football, coming out of the SEC, but in general. So when I came out, I was fortunate enough that I had been exposed to people that had income that was not in sports. So some of them had online businesses and network marketing, and then the other ones were in sales, even though I didn't know what they did. but I knew they were not dependent on salaries. And literally, I did these football camps around the country. When I got done, I had to get a job. So I reached out to a couple of guys, and they were all in sales, and they pretty much threw me into the sales game. And when I got into sales, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I did know this. I knew my skill set. I was good with strangers because I had teammates around me that was from different backgrounds, so I could deal with people. I was good at making friends. And then I realized people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. So from an athletic standpoint, I had to deal with different people, different backgrounds, and I had the chance to build camaraderie with people. So I had people skills. So I got into sales, and the first 3 months, the people skills helped me. And then that 4th month, I was trash. And so at that point, I realized I had to learn more skills. But once I finally learned those other skills and realized sports taught me a lot of other things, the sales game set me up for life because me and one of my teammates, we came out, I had online sales, online business and full commission sales. So both of my jobs depended on me producing. Well, I thought it was the craziest thing I ever could have did. But once I did it, and then I finally had success in it, I've never been able to take a salary position or a job where I exchanged time for dollars, because the commission allowed me to make enough income where I could take some money and put it over here to invest, or take some money and put over here to buy an asset, take some money and put over here to do something else with it versus trying to trade time for dollars and never really getting ahead of the race. And I remember growing up, he was robbing Peter to pay Paul. Yeah. So the sales game and not being afraid to eat what you kill, or go out here and pretty much, if you don't produce, you don't eat, that whole concept. I did it early when I didn't have really much to lose besides just coming out, being a young man out of college. Yeah. And that set me up for success because I had a chance to realize I had to manage my money, because some months I might have a good month, some week I might have a good week, but I can't go blow it just because next month might be slow. Yeah. Or some people may cancel some deals, so I might have to pay that money back. So it taught me early on how to be financially responsible with my own money, just because it looked good, sounded good, because I was coming out of college and okay, 20,000 in 1 month sound like you're rich, but really at the end of the day, that 20 grand might have to last you for 3 months because everybody might get slow, you might not sell nothing. So that getting into commission early when I ain't have a lot to risk besides myself, when I could eat noodles because I done ate them before, and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, like forcing myself to have to get uncomfortable, being uncomfortable real early in life. I would say as an athlete, you're already uncomfortable being uncomfortable because you done been on the field, on the track, on the pool with the pressure's on, and you got to make a play, you got to perform. I would say if you can do that early in your career, under pressure, when it comes down to a commission opportunity in sales, that's going to give you the opportunity to learn some more about financial literacy, to test your discipline, whether you're going to spend that money, save that money, but also give you an opportunity to create some cushion. So now you can take some of that money and invest it and do other things with it versus thinking that, hey, I got to live to work, versus put yourself in position where you can earn income that allow you to go create some passive residual income streams. So if I could tell them anything, I would say don't be afraid of the sales game, that commission only game. Depending on yourself, you're depending on yourself on the football field, on the track, on the court, on the pool to get where you are. Like, bet on yourself. That's one of the biggest things the game taught me, and it paid off in a lot of different ways. And now in the entrepreneur space, betting on yourself, taking that gamble on yourself, and it's going to force you to become financially literate and financially smart with your decisions, which is going to set you up for success for the rest of your life. So the earlier you do it, the faster you'll have those pitfalls, either from yourself or you'll learn from somebody else, and it only allows you to just be more structured, more sturdy, more resilient on the back end once you do have a family that's leaning on you, that's depending on you. So that's what I would tell them, man. Like, don't be afraid to bet on yourself and learn the sales game, the commission game, because it's definitely one of those biggest things that I never knew, but I learned indirectly that now, if somebody would have told me that earlier, man, I'm glad they didn't tell me earlier, because I probably wouldn't have played sports. I would have figured out how to come out blazing off the gate.
That's a very interesting take on that, because I kind of understood that as well, kind of surrounded myself with people that were more or less in sales, but I really didn't put it together until later on, in life, about sales. And because I can't work for, paycheck either, because I feel like that's a trap. As soon as you start working it's a trap. And like you said, you're trading time for dollars. I like the way you put that. But it's key. And I think a lot of times, if you're not exposed, you're not going to realize that until later on down the road. Then you're going to, of course, wish that you have done something or taken a chance or something of that nature. So that's the first time someone said that. So that's good. So we're down to the bonus questions, which you already touched on as far as just the NFL, and just more or less just shoulder injury there. So typically towards the end, kind of talk about just what you're doing now, but I want to make sure we get that in, as well as the 2 books, because you have 2 books, or did you already work on third?
So we got What's Next, How to Transition Like a Champ. That's out, and then we got the Transition Playbook, which is a curriculum and a book. So those are both out, and we're working on a couple other co-author books, but that's out, and we got a lot of ebooks and digital downloads. So it's just really the content, man, to help the athlete make that transition into life after sport on a lot of different levels. One of them, what we're talking about right now, financial literacy, and then the other ones are just some of those transferable skills. We don't know that we don't know. And if you don't know that you don't know, then that's half of the problem right there. Because a lot of the stuff we got built in, but it's never been taught to us in a formal setting, like our playbook was. And once we had that aha moment, I believe it's a wrap. A lot of athletes will transition like a champion versus transitioning like a chump, because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of clarify then, with the books, and I guess I just want people to know what are you doing now? Because I know you, like you said, obviously got your books. So for those hopefully that are watching, kind of just talk about what you're currently doing now, just with your platform. And I know you already mentioned books, but just more or less let it out.
Man, so really, I found the purpose of me being here, man. It was to impact, inspire, and empower athletes, and also people. Athletes are people, but particularly athletes, and show them how to take those transferable skills and how they are relevant in their life after sports. So whatever thing I do, from DerrickFurlow.com to Sports Life Business, is designed to teach athletes how to become athletepreneurs, take those athletic, tangible, transferable skills, and show them how they can go take those to become an entrepreneur, or just take them how to take those transferable skills and say, hey, you don't have to start over when you're no longer playing. You got some building blocks. You got some things the game has taught you. Now, you might not be aware of them. All right, well, here they are. Now, what are some things you went through? What are some, I call this the transition formula. It's called T plus C equals ST. Find out what you've been through in life, your athletic journey. What can you take away from it? That's the T. And then once you realize what can you take away from it, some value in that. How does it correlate? How does it correlate to where you're at right now in life or where you're going in the future? That's the C. The next one is the carryover. How can you carry those things over, those invaluable transferable skills? Once you figure out how those things carry over, that's how you have a successful transition into anything that you do. So when I had that aha moment, I took what I learned from sports and I found out how to apply it to sales. Once I realized how I take those things that I learned from watching film and how we used to break down film and study our opponent, then how we'll review it, and then how we'll film study. I took that same process. I had to learn the company credibility, the steps of the sale, the sales process. I role played it and I practiced it and I reviewed it. I took the same thing we did in film study, and I just took it over to sales. That's how I learned the sales game, and I started to become successful in sales. Then I trained the other people in sales that didn't play sports. They had success in sales. So at that point, I realized, athletes, you got an advantage just from watching film every single day, or your process for getting prepared for an opponent, and you don't even realize you got it. So just what things that the game give you that's going to be valuable to you for the rest of your life. So that's what my programs, my books are designed to do, help athletes expose themselves to those things, those skill sets they got. I call it the unfair advantage, and let that be that catapult to the next level of life, because there's a lot of athletes living below their potential. I call it LBYP. It's like a disease. It's uncurable until you cure it for yourself. Nobody can help you, man. It got to be that aha moment. So that's what my programs in the book designed to do, is help athletes not suffer from LBYP, from living below their potential, but just truly have that break out of that identity jail as being an athlete and realize that they're more than an athlete. And these are the things that the game has taught them that makes them more than an athlete, and that can be applied in every other phase of their life and their business. So whether it's my books, my programs, my curriculum, my videos, it's designed to empower the athlete mindset and help them transition. But also it's going to help people. But first things first, I've seen a lot of teammates personally and a lot of people around me that were in the athletic space, my peers. So I had to tailor it toward them, even though transition is a thing that we're all going through.
Yeah.
I mean, we go through that every day. I believe you either in transition, just came out of a transition, or transition is on its way. So that's across the board for people, but athletes, I definitely had a heart for them, because that's what I've done. And now I feel it's only right that we take those same things and speak the lingo so we can help each other out.
My man. Well, man, I appreciate it, man. That's it, man. I appreciate your time. Yeah, this was good. I liked it.
I appreciate you, brother, man. Thanks for doing what you do. Thanks for having me on, man. And I believe what you're doing is going to impact, inspire, and empower people, whether we know it or not. I think it's definitely going to touch somebody where they at along their journey.
Well, I hope so, man. I hope so, man. All right, brother. Well, I'll let you get going. And like I said, let's stay in touch.
Awesome. Will do. Pat, thanks for your time, my man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.